house right now. $15 million. You ready?
I'm ready. What's the deal?
You guys ready? Mm-hmm.
So, in line with many studies by psychology. Hello everyone. So in my last video where I talked about visiting a false school in the Astral, a lot of people ask, and this is a common question that I've had since I started the channel, everyone asks things like, Gene, how do you know it's not a dream? Or what is the difference between lucid dreaming and astral projection? Or were those people unconsciously projecting that you met? You know, were they dead? Or how do you discern between hallucination and reality in these out-of-body experiences? And was it the lower astral? Was it a Earth-like dimension? Things like that. And all good and valid questions. And so after meditating on these questions, this idea came to me to create a visual representation, quite in-depth one. And this will help me to help you expand on these answers more clearly. And so my intention here is to answer all of these questions by helping you to understand the fundamental nature and structure of our individual consciousness in relation to the astral plane. Okay, so by understanding this, I'm hoping that you will intuitively exercise your intuition. Okay, so we're going to study you as awareness and your relationship to the non-physical layer of reality that is always present, but very present every time we go to sleep. So this will help you to navigate your own discernment in your own experiences. Okay, so this is all based on my own experiences and investigations in the astral plane and my own spiritual efforts in my own path.
How long is this? 40 minutes. Okay.
Get
cozy.
Years of studying esoteric and Kabbalistic understanding of these dimensions. I'm not trying to convince anyone here of anything. I just want to share these ideas. I'm not trying to form new beliefs for people. I always recommend everyone to discover their own truth for themselves. And so, yes, I just really hope this helps you conceptualize and get a better idea of what this amazing phenomenon of non-physical consciousness is, which we call dreams, ADDs, astral projection, etc. And remember, I am showing you what is essentially just ideas here. Therefore, you're going to see a crude representation. Don't take it concretely. You know, just like when you want to get your driver's license, you have to learn theory, right? And when you learn the theory, it doesn't really give you a proper feel for actually driving, does it? You don't really understand it until you actually drive. So I say this because I get a lot of people with all sorts of crazy ideas about astral projection, yet they have no experience. And while all those ideas are okay, they are mostly unhelpful, practically. Why? Well, use the driver's test as an example. If you go into your driver's test with all sorts of crazy and emotionally charged ideas and beliefs about driving, then you'll be overthinking when taking the test, right? Most likely you'll be super anxious that you're going to crash or something, so obviously you won't be able to drive very well, and it's more likely that you'll crash. People do this with astral projection too. So in exactly the same way, don't overthink these ideas.
Good to see you.
Don't take them rigidly. Just enjoy my explanation here in a detached way, and you'll be better able to have some of your own more natural intuitions while you watch. Okay, so here we go. And so you'll see by the end of the video, you're going to see a really in-depth diagram on the screen, but I'm going to walk you all through it quite gradually. Okay, so the first part, as you can see on the screen here by the title of this diagram, this will be about dreaming in the astral plane, because in no other way do we dream other than dreaming in the astral plane. Okay? Dreams take place over there. Now, if you're thinking that dreaming is in the brain, yes, of course it is. How else are we to retrieve memories of these experiences? But it is also in the astral plane at the same time. The brain is just an antenna for memories, as it is for almost everything else in our waking physical function.
Brain is an antenna. I might stop and just throw in my own comments. I like that. Antennas.
So remember this and meditate on this. Consciousness is not in the brain. The brain is in consciousness. And
hold up. The consciousness is not in the brain. The brain is in the consciousness. Okay.
Consciousness is everywhere. It is the entire cosmos. So the aim here is to stop dreaming in the astral plane and instead to awaken to it. So even though the astral is an inner world, it still means that we can visit other planets and see objective perceptions, since consciousness is everywhere. A lot of science is already confirming this, that consciousness pervades everything. Okay, so more on this as we continue. Okay, so let's start to reveal the diagram. So this next part is just showing that more specifically what you're about to see below represents this non-physical space or consciousness. Okay, so for a moment, forget the words dreams, out-of-body experiences, astral projection. Forget it. It's better to classify them all under one understanding, which is non-physical consciousness, because truly it is under this classification that all the other sub-classifications, such as dreaming and astral projection, come under. Okay, so remember, every night the body goes into a comatose state, a sort of mini death, and we wake up disorientated with no idea what happened to us in the past 8 hours or so. It is obvious.
Hey, Wally, Fishy, everybody.
Traveling around subconsciously. So, what exactly is traveling around? It is our awareness. So, as we see next,
are you guys really reading it backwards? Are you reading it backwards? Are you really reading it backwards? Aw, shit. Hold on. Oh, you are. So I'd have to do this. Oh, okay, there we go. So there, that would be. What the fuck? Hold on, was Fools and Tools telling me that before? Okay, no, okay. Okay, let me do it this way. I'm just not. Oh, jeez. This is what happens before you get medicated, my friends, and you just go in. Let me see. Like that. But I'm not going to be able to see my phone in the comments. That's okay. Let me do this for now. Okay.
See?
Can you see me?
This here, this circle, can also be called our individual essence. This is us as an individual soul. But, and this is the crucial thing to understand, Is our essence itself perfect? No. What is wrong with it? It is unconscious, unaware, not self cognizant. It is asleep in the full sense of the word sleep. Why? Because it is conditioned by its own subjectivity, or what we also
Oops.
call
Keep
ego.
filming the camera, sorry.
How much is
Okay.
it conditioned by? Well, a lot of us would like to think maybe 50% ego at most, but no, we have around 97% ego, maybe even less.
Oh my, that's a high
That
number.
means we are about 3% awakened beings, or less in most cases. Okay, so those moments when you start to really sense what God is, those moments when you had amazing meditations and big self realizations, those moments when you had astral projections, are little moments when you had a tiny increase in the percentage of your essence, like by 2 or 3%, not a lot to we only need a little bit to start to feel like really more awakened. So you have to ask yourself this as well, how many times did you have those special spiritual experiences compared to every other day in your life? The fact is probably 3% or less. Right?
Oh.
This is also in line with many studies by psychologists that say we are mostly conditioned by our subconscious, subjective mind, and also many studies by neurologists that say we only have a small amount of our brains activated. So, ego is the problem here. Ego is what dreams. Ego is dreams. If you remove ego, you remove dreaming.
Oh, damn.
Maybe you feel a reaction to this.
Hmm.
Well, the psychological entity that is
By the way, this is somebody's personal experience, so it's not being pushed or it's not, it's their experience on what is the dream or astral projection.
reacting is Pinocchio. When Pinocchio gets mad and says that, no, I'm a real boy, right? But no, you're not a real boy, Pinocchio. You are a puppet, mechanical, conditioned and controlled by your ego. Ego is darkness. That's why Pinocchio is a liar. So much of a liar, he doesn't even know he's lying because he hasn't learned to listen to his conscience. Jiminy Cricket, right? And the sound of the cricket represents this sacred, small, still voice or sound within us. And in the Aztec tradition, by the way, too, there's a teaching in the Gnostic tradition to meditate to the sound of the crickets in order to astral project. So, this is why I put chains around the essence here, because we are imprisoned by our own mental slavery and we see the world through our dirty lens of our ego instead of actually seeing reality. We do this in waking life too, and also during when the body sleeps. So, therefore, awaken consciousness during waking life, and you will awaken at night too. As above, so below. So I won't go into this much here, since I have many videos about the ego, and actually 90% of my chakra series was dedicated to exactly that. So, next. Now I'm showing you how this tiny spark of tiny awakened individual consciousness floats around in the astral dimension. Okay, so this outer circle represents the astral plane, which has, as you see, different layers, which I'll show you. But first, to also point out, beyond this layer of the astral plane are also greater realities, such as the mental plane, causal plane, and really all the divine, abstract, subtle heavens of the gods and goddesses and everything like that, the highest intelligences in creation. We won't look so in depth here at those, but all you have to know is that astral consciousness is absolutely not the end road of it all. It is just the beginning. And really, by becoming experienced in astral projection, it will help you massively in understanding these higher realms in a more intuitive way. That's why the name of this channel is called Astral Doorway, because astral projection is a gateway into understanding the rest of these dimensions. And if you struggle understanding them even after experience, well, then you can always just ask the masters in the astral to teach you and show you them. In some cases, they can even increase your consciousness for a moment by like 20 or 30% and let you experience what it's like to have more awakened consciousness, just to, give you a little help. So anyway, let's continue this diagram. The bottom part of the astral here is the lower astral. This is where most of humanity resides, and what we could also call the chaotic collective consciousness, which often looks like hell, depending on how deep you go. But really, I wouldn't say it always looks like stereotypical hell. It may just look like the Earth plane, since really Earth currently is mostly in the lower astral too. So next. Now, remember this is all just a vague description, okay? But the middle astral is essentially like just above hell. There's many in between or intermediary dimensions here. My Jacob's Ladder experience, which I shared with you, is perhaps a middle astral dimension. So this is the place we connect to when we are no longer happy in hell. Because the truth is that people in hell are happy with hell. And that's why most of us don't want to admit its existence, We are happy with our dramas, vices, pleasures, alcohol, having sex with whoever, and when you are no longer happy with this and change your life, then you will see in the astral that you will start to ascend a little, and your dreams and experiences will become a little less hellish, you could say.
Nice.
So, next, and of course, above this, we have the higher astral, where really there are a lot of beautiful, harmonious realities, sublime worlds of indescribable emotions. These are the more profound dimensions where souls have more freedom to expand their consciousness and learn and gain wisdom. So, as you can see, I put many dots here, which represent many little essences or souls. So they represent exactly this little, if you just use your imagination, it represents this chain, okay, but just smaller. And most of them I've put here being in the lower astral, a bit less in the middle astral, and then a lot less in the higher astral. And remember, the structure of these little essences are mostly asleep. They are mostly dark and dreaming. So I can maybe color one mostly in black for you. Oh no, I can't because I'll mess up my little slideshow here. But well, I can use my little cursor here, right? If I put my my cursor on this one, this little circle here, this little essence is mostly black, right? With just a tiny little bit of its tiny little divine spark there. It's little tiny lights. Okay, so if you just use your imagination, most of them are really just dark and asleep and unconscious. Okay? So this is why the great work is so important. We must awaken, we must ascend and liberate our consciousness so that we can see the reality of where we are, of where we actually are. So next I will clarify further about why it's so difficult in the beginning to discern between subjective dream environments and objective astral environments, and also how they can mix and intermingle. So next, as I've written here, depending on where the essence is located in the astral, its dreams will have different influences according to its astral environment and the energies that come with it. Okay? So, understand this, that an individual soul is always located somewhere in the astral. But does it always see the objective reality of that astral environment? No. Why? Because it is dreaming of its own subjective ego dreams within itself, within its own essence. Now, are those dreams always totally subjective? No. Why? Because the astral environment and the energies of it can influence the essence's dreams. Okay, so that's why I put these little spark symbols around the cage of the essence to show that the environment around it is being influenced. Okay, so I hope you're following and that makes sense. So you might ask, Jean, how is it possible that we can be in the objective astral but experience a subjective dream environment at the same time? Right? Well, the answer is, don't you do that all the time in the physical?
No.
If you pay attention
Right.
and study the ego properly in its subjective layers, you will see you always do it in waking life. Always. I emphasize that strongly. Always. Because, let's see, the most obvious example is that when you are in waking life, you can be walking in a park, yes, in the physical, but you can be daydreaming of a totally other reality in your head and literally living there in a non-physical way. So you are simultaneously in two places at once, right? Exactly like this diagram I'm showing you. But what is not so obvious is that when we think we're not daydreaming in waking life, we are in fact still seeing waking life through the lenses of egoic, subjective, conditioned, judgmental interpretation. We put physical waking life through dense layers of processing, of egoic interpretation. This is exactly the same effect while the body goes to sleep. We go to the astral every single night, but we do not see the objective reality of it. We see instead our own problems, dramas, narratives, traumas, ego. We are asleep. And to give an example of how these objective environments influence the subjective dream environments, let's take this little essence here as an example, that it's located in the lower astral. Okay, so then its subjective dreams may be more scary, right? They may have a lot of nightmares, monsters, people chasing them, having a lot of fights, things like that. Okay, so now let's look more deeper at how the astral plane and these objective environments can influence and interact with us more intimately. As you can see what I've wrote here, loved ones who have passed away, guides, masters, etc., may all visit us in our individual dream world, because dreams are inside the astral plane. We are all little essences dreaming in the ocean of the astral plane. So remember, it doesn't matter if a person has a physical body or not. It's not really about life and death because, as most of you know, we never really die. Our physical matter dies. Our material vessel is just a body, an incarnation. That's it. The next level of reality is always the astral plane, whether you are currently incarnated in a physical body or not. So, this is why some people ask, Gene, I had a dream. I'm sure it was a dream, but my father, who has passed away, appeared in it. And he had this totally different energy from the rest of the dream that was so beautiful. He radiated in the dream and gave me these emotions that I've never felt before. So, was it a dream or did he really visit me? Well, the answer is both are true. Yes, it was a dream, but he visited you in the dream. Masters, angels, and other beings can all do this too. So this is why I've put this little curved arrow penetrating the ego dream layer of conditioned essence and sort of breaking through the chain of illusion in order to send energies here, send spirits or souls here to interact with this essence, usually in order to help this essence.
Oops, I'm so sorry. Commercial. It's like 3/4 done, but this is very interesting. Makes a lot of sense to me. Welcome, whoever's here. Sorry, I can't see the
So
chat.
this much should be clear by now. Let's go even deeper now and see actually how not all dreams are subjective and that we can actually have experiences where we are in objective astral environments but in an unconscious way. So the next part, as I've written here, dreams can have quote unquote glitches in the matrix where we unintentionally go beyond subjectivity and see or learn new things, meaning we go unconsciously into objective astral environments. This can influence our subconscious and we wake up in new moods or make new decisions. And as you can see, I put these blue lines to represent how our wall of illusion can actually intimately perceive and interact with objective astral environments in this unconscious way. If you want a good example of this, see my video called Attending a Class in the Astral with Unconscious Students. And you'll see how I saw about 100 unconscious people in the astral taking a lesson by an awakened master, and how the awakened master also recognized that I was awake in those moments. Okay, so the next bit is quite interesting. I've not really seen anyone explain it like this before, so it should be interesting to you. It will explain why we feel vibrations upon leaving the body, which is really caused by a resistance or tension, like a fighting energy when we separate from the physical body. So, what happens when you really tense your muscles or you try to fight against something? There's a shaking, right? When two tectonic plates of the Earth collide or go together, there's an earthquake, there's shaking, right? So, as I've written here, it's a little small, so sorry if you're on your mobile or something. I recommend checking this out on your computer. The vibrational stage represents breaking the chains of ego dreams. The guardian of the threshold is the ego that wants us to stay like a princess asleep in a castle. it will use your own fear to stop you. This is why we often feel fear during when we're about to astral project. See it as a test to see whether you are truly ready to discover reality beyond subjectivity. So this is why when we first begin, we have this fear test, which is also known as the guardian of the threshold. It only really happens in the beginning of our journey. So, for example, I don't really have this feeling of vibrations and fear anymore. Okay, so to continue reading what I said, meditate on these next questions on yourself. If you're one of those many people who are struggling to astral project, okay, so are you really ready to venture into the unknown? Why are you afraid? Scared of what you might find? Are you scared of the truth? That there's actually a way to truly know things? Have courage. We are attached to trauma and ego. Rebel against yourself. Deny yourself. Deny the thinking I, especially in those moments of fear. Don't give in to those eyes, right? Save the princess, which is the essence. Remember your love for gnosis, your love for knowledge, real knowledge, direct knowledge from experience. A kiss awakens sleeping beauty, meaning connect with
Damn.
love. The astral plane is beautiful and nothing to be scared of. Okay, and next, and I know this is a lot, pause at any point and meditate on these things, okay? So the next point just points towards how beautiful the potential of these non-physical states are. So, as you can see here, dimensions beyond the astral are infinite. They can all be accessed through this out-of-body, non-physical state. And I've put another little spark symbol here on the layer of the astral plane to show you can penetrate and break through this astral plane to find even deeper realities and truths. Just one way of doing this would be maybe meditating while out of body, but the main work is on the ego, right? And so really just doing all of this great work in the waking life too. And for the last part here, this internal organization of individual consciousness determines what kind of reality is manifested in the physical. As above, so below. Change the internal and the external will change. So, temet nosce, know thyself. So for those who have left comments saying, Gene, why even focus on astral projection? I would rather focus on real life. Well, if you want to focus on what is real, focus on astral projection. There, true reality can be seen. You can really see the true colors of reality there. For example, let's say there is a very miserable person in waking life who is always angry, sad, miserable, depressed, etc. This person may think that they are absolutely fine and nice, right? Because in their physical reality, they have a nice house, have a nice food, maybe have a family, and the material, the superficial layer of reality is fine. But if you were to investigate this person in the astral, you will see that they are in a dark and monstrous and maybe even demonic or underworld reality. So, in this sense, physical reality is a facade. It is superficial. It's shallow in the grand scheme of multidimensional reality. And actually, the spirit world, the astral, is more real and represents what is truly going on in our life and in the world. This is why it has within it the essence of things. There's no illusions there. The physical reality is a world of vanities. You know, you don't need to believe me about this. This is totally observable and you can confirm it for yourself. You know, you can meet a wide range of people. You can, for example, you might meet someone who is like really physically attractive. They look perfect and beautiful. But when you get to know them, they have a terrible spiritual life. They're always suffering. Maybe they're suicidal. So in the physical, they may be a really beautiful and attractive and famous person, but in the astral, they might look something like a zombie.
Mm.
So this is why it is important to always remember our dreams and strive to awaken our consciousness here and now. Nowhere else can you find real information about yourself. No psychiatrist, no book, no guru, nothing. The information is hidden within you in plain sight,
Bam.
just waiting for you to discover it. And so this is why in a lot of New Age talks as well, there's a lot of talk about 5D Earth or fifth dimensional consciousness. They're all really talking about astral consciousness and the astral plane. And in my frank opinion, it is useless to talk about 5D or the fifth dimension without teaching astral projection. You will learn so much more by just taking up dreaming and astral practice.
That makes sense.
And you'll understand it firsthand. And you only get there by actually doing the work and getting rid of certain egos in order to free up your consciousness more. So you start to actually intuit the real path of the soul that we can all take. You know, it's impossible to comprehend all of these things intellectually. We actually have to take up the hero's journey and actually revolutionize our consciousness firsthand for ourselves. And I also hope this helps you understand what I spoke about in the video teaching about how to work with the moon, and where I spoke about lunar astral bodies. You see, if you look at some souls, or, well, most souls, you can observe how they are not awake. They are what we call in Gnostic teachings lunar. They are mechanical. They are Pinocchio, going around life like a ghost, not really seeing or understanding reality around them. They're not present, not self-cognizant. And to talk a bit about this fear and the guardian of the threshold, you know, what happens when we don't face our fears in life in general? Well, we lose, right? We don't go on. We don't continue. We fail. We become depressed, unhappy, unfulfilled. And what do the people who care about us tell us when we are fearful and making these fear-based decisions? They say, you know, they try to comfort us and say, it's okay, do it anyway. So that's my advice for you about trying to overcome this fear. I get so many questions about it. You know, Gene, I'm almost astral projecting.
Almost
it's so
over.
scary. My only advice really is to just do it anyway. Don't think about it. Just go and do it. In those moments of leaving the body, just go. Create force, create tension to break the chain with sheer willpower. That's what you need, willpower. This is why in esoteric studies it's often said to just kill the ego. It's a ruthless thing. You need to have willpower. So I know this is a lot. And again, as I said at the start, you know, maybe you want to ask me now, but how do I actually discern all of this in practice? Well, you just need patience and practice. You know, it's like asking, how do I know how fast my car is going to go when I push the pedal? Well, you won't know until you actually get a feel for it and actually drive, right? And once you start gathering experiences, your intuition will gradually and slowly grow. And you'll say, you know, now I totally understand what Gene means by this now. Okay, and yeah, so I really hope you got something out of this and that it helped to paint a little understanding of the wider picture of these non-physical states out of body and how complex they are as well, you know. And if still you're struggling with questions, before you ask me a question in the comments, I highly recommend you first listen to two of my videos that will really help with this. It's very similar to this video, but I talk a little bit about different things with other examples there too. So watch these two that are on the screen now. And then if you're still confused after watching those two, then just drop me a comment and hopefully I'll see it up.
Okay.
Stick it on top of your bed or something. Because if you really resonated with this video and it really makes sense to you and you had a lot of aha moments, right? Then this is going to help you connect with those realizations during your practice at night and remind you to discover this for yourself. So when you wake up, if you do like a wake back to bed practice and you just look at this diagram, then this map of the astral and how our consciousness is structured in relation to it, then you know when you just see it, you'll understand straight away, right? And then you can go into your astral journeys with this knowledge to discover this more and investigate it more for yourself. Okay, so thank you. Give the video a like, share it.
Thank you, come again. That's over. Okay. Now, turn this around because I can relate to this a lot and I'm going to talk. There we go. Cheers, everybody. I don't know who watched that and who went through it all and everything. Hey, Chili Billy. Fools and Tools still there. Tree Che. That was very interesting because they put me on some nice. Okay. Very interesting because I've been curious about dreams lately. And a lot of that, well, I had aha moments, as that man would say, on that. And I'm noticing over time that as I work on the whole dream scenario and get a lot of trauma off of me, I am actually, like if you went by that chart, I placed myself like in the middle. So cutting away a lot of stuff, I'm actually people I'm just meeting and coming across, and it's on the internet, it's in real life, it's past family members who passed away. I am actually running into these beings in my dream state, and it's not like it was when I was younger, like the man described, where things are chasing you and you're freaking out and you're scared. That was your lower like vibration area, I would say. But for me, since I've done so much work on me, I'm like, I'm having these crazy moments where I'm just running into people in my dreams. And instead of being in fear or worrying, it's like I still see their physical body, but they still have like an aura around them. And I'm able to go with the dream, but also recognize, hey, I know you. I know you from this dimension, meaning the physical realm. And now I'm here in the dream with you, and I recognize it, and I'm like whole in the whole dream. My head is going, wow, I know you. I met you. We're over there. Now we're over here in this, whatever you want to call it. See, I'm still not sure about any of that. And I'm like, this is amazing. And as time goes on, I make it happen quicker and quicker. I make it happen as soon as I meet somebody. And the funny thing is that all the people this happens with and I meet there are people that here I already have a strong connection with. That is some fascinating stuff. And if you can go higher, and that's the thing, because I work so much on myself in my dreams and want to find answers just for me, for my, own peace of mind, so I know how to maneuver through the rest of my life, because, not everyone's perfect. I've been trying to go higher, but not sure if I'm ready to see or encounter whatever I may. Right now, I'm just feeling out the other dream world, and it is crazy. It's crazy, it's magical, it's fascinating all at the same time. So now it's like when I run into someone, meet them, we hit it off, we get along, we've been talking for a while, there's never an issue. Best believe I'm going to see that person in my dream world. Something I could never do my whole life. And again, because like what that man said, it was like you're living more in your lower vibration, so you eat crap food, have the disgusting behavior going on, all the trauma trapped in you, and just like, yeah. So a lot of that made sense to me. I just found it this morning and figured I'd show it, just like I found something yesterday and showed it about the astral world. And it was fascinating. And every time I watch these, do you know what I do? I lay down and I take a nap. And I don't even have to think into it. I just take a nap. I'm like, let go to sleep. And by golly, George, it happens again. And I'm like, oh, this is magical. The only thing about it is, when I wake up from it, I am pissed. I'm not gonna lie. When I'm waking up now, I have to go through what I call a calm down morning process, because I'm like, oh man, you just left a lovely place. Now you're here again. So I go through a little mourning process in the morning. See that? I mourn in the morning. Yeah, I do some thing where I cry and I gotta let it out and stay away from anybody and anything for a while and just be like, remember, this is just a physical realm. You see people, you've done this your whole life. You're just more aware now, so it makes it a little bit harder, but it's okay. You're gonna be safe. Breathe. Nothing's gonna happen. I gotta do like a whole meditation, self-motivation talk just to get me going in the morning. And I mean, that's to just get up and go make me breakfast. Or go out like I did a little while ago and mow part of my yard that my neighbor screwed up, and my dad screwed up the lawnmower or whatever. And I had to rinse grass off everywhere. Wasn't happy, but still had to maintain that composure. Well, I'm grateful someone did it, but I'm not grateful that they did it so messed up that now I gotta, pull everything apart and kind of go right behind them and fix it all. But hey, it is what it is. Now, the old me would have been over knocking at his door. Excuse me. I'm just going to let you know, no matter what my mom says or asks you any other time, you are not to mow our yard. No, you're not. They will come again. I appreciate it, but we don't need you again. That would have been the old me. But now it's just like, okay, what am I going to do? He did it. He helped. No, I'll just go pick all this grass. And I'm not going to complain, but, the level of accepting things. So anyways, that was very interesting. Yes, it was. You can relate? Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think that's why I don't dream much, because an escape, yeah. You want to be able to dream again? Yeah. Yeah. Sex is good. God. What the hell? I can't believe I was playing backwards for a while. But yeah, that's fascinating. You want to hear something very deep? Shortly after when my sister passed away 2 years ago, shortly after that, I had such a vivid dream. It was so realistic. Because at that point, I was like in a shock. I was like in a shock mode. I went through shock for like 2 years. It just broke open. But I saw her in a dream, and again, I saw her in a physical body. And she actually came running after me to give me a hug. And I remember I was running away. Because it was like, I don't know, I wasn't running because I was scared. I think I was running because I was like, no, no, no. That's like the hug goodbye. You know, like, once you do that, it's done. And I was running. And she chased me down. She put her arms around me and she gave me a hug. And she was like, you're going to be okay. You got this. And when that happened, that's when I really started. And that was like 2 years ago. So when I did that, it really started my journey into the dream thing. Because I was like, I saw her in my dream. She chased me down, as stubborn as I was. And like, and gave me a big hug, like the hug I would feel, you know, when she was alive. And I was like, this shit is magical. That's when I was like, I'm going deeper. I'm going deeper into all this because I want to figure things out. And hell, can I meet other people, you know? I've had some other freaky dreams too that I'm really not going to go over. That just stuff that kind of scared me, you know. I had one dream one night where I wasn't even completely asleep, and all of a sudden I heard something going, I heard a man's voice going, running program, and gave a long number. And as soon as I heard that, I went, and I woke up because I was like, why am I hearing running a program on me? Why am I hearing that in my sleep? It didn't sound right. So I woke up from it, and I was like, whoa. Then I didn't really want to go back to sleep for like a day or two. Because I was like, is something trying to program me in my sleep? I don't know. No, you have weird dreams like that, certain things, or like people standing over you and they're like, she knows. You got like 2 or 3 people around you, and they're like, look, she knows. And you're laid out somewhere, and they're like, she knows, she knows. You know, when you have stuff like that, that's when you wake up and you're like, now your awareness goes da 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 da, because you're like, what is going on? What's Dreams are crazy. They really are. Thank you. Oh, when you miss your mom. Oh, do you? You hug yourself. 218, you start going deeper. So yeah, 222, 220. Well, that was actually longer for me when I started going down all these rabbit holes, you know. That's a good idea. Hug yourself. Oh, see, you future, see, we do have stuff in common because I sit here and guard my niece because my mom has my niece and her deeply entrenched in the system, and I gotta watch over them. That worries me. See, you run into people at the right time for the right reason. I sit here and watch over them as they fall for everything and run to everything that is no good for them, you know? And since I know the children are a prime target and she's 8, I'm over here like, come hell or high water, I'm not going to let it happen. But I've already had my experiences where it was made known to me that I don't have a decision in her life. Nope. I'm not on no paperwork. I don't have access to her school, which I can go there for lunch. There's a strong reason I feel like They don't want me to get involved. Maybe I'm just going to wreck their belief system. I finally had to let go of the fact that I can't control what happens with my niece. That's hard. I was fighting tooth and nail. I was fighting that tooth and nail. It was driving me crazy. It was pissing off everyone. And I'm like, no, this isn't going to happen. That's not going to happen. I was probably going overboard. But the way they reacted to me, I was like, I got to let go of the whole thing. I let go of my whole family. I live with them, but I let go of, trying to help them, or I can't do it. It's not working. Like, I mentally prepare myself for if the day comes and I must go that way, and they all go that way. Because my 20-year-old son is already trying to go his way. He's already trying to move out with a girl, he's with, that he goes through a lot just to get out of the house. He's trying to escape the family. It's like preparing, being mentally, because I like to mentally prepare myself in my head. Because I'm the type that when something happens at the last minute, my switch goes off in my brain and I say, shut down, don't deal with it. And then I deal with it when I'm ready and my body's ready. And it's always later at a wrong time when whoever I'm around can't handle it, can't take it, and I'm sitting there trying to deal with my feelings. So mentally prepare for something that might happen down the road that you have no control over it, and has to do with your family and your whole family being just separated. Just what 4 members you have left of your family, just that's enough to make anybody angry. Alright, I'm gonna end the stream. Yeah, I'm gonna end the stream. Thank you everyone for coming. I'm gonna go relax, take a nap. That was enough deep diving for me today, my friends. I tend to counsel myself. That's one more funny thing I'll say. Well, I'm not smoking another cigarette. Just talk. This helps. This is good therapy too. I'm good with myself. I don't care who listens. I love when people want to say to you because they don't understand you and they don't have the patience and they're not trying to understand you and don't even have a second to hear you out because, the patience level is very low in the world. I'd like to tell you, go see a psychiatrist. Go to a psychiatrist and get help. Well, let's see. What do you got to do to a psychiatrist? You got to pay, first of all. What is a psychiatrist? Well, it's a sounding board. Just kind of like your phone, and if you, whatever. Just like if you talk out loud and actually listen to yourself. So I like to have a little conversation with people. Like, do you even know what the psychiatrist does? They have like just a couple faithful lines, and what is, so how did that make you feel? Well, I can answer that. And what are you going to do about it? Well, you're not going to do nothing about it. And then you talk a little more, and then it's, how did that make you feel? And then after a while, you're like, then you want to flip the tables like I do and say, how does it make you feel that you're just asking me the same question over and over again, and you just have me talking to myself? How does that feel? See, I've had my experiences with psychologists and therapists all in the past. I went through a billion of them just to do that, just to finally turn it around and actually realize that my own counselor was the one, was my own counselor, was the one that needed the therapy. It wasn't me, it was the counselor. So after I caught on to the little game, like in, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, I finally turned it around, like, are you married? What do you do in your spare time? And, you know, because I'm very friendly and always have been, normally, you know, unless you really piss me off or whatever, and that don't happen too much. But I would just start asking about her. Next thing you know, an hour session, and it's about her. And, you know, after you do that so many times, you're like, yeah, this is a fraud. It's all a fraud. But then they have people around you say, why don't you go there for help? Well, let's see. I'm sitting here trying to talk to you, and you don't want to hear me just spit out a couple lines about how I feel, or, hey, are we doing this? Just try to have some little momentum of communication. Just to have that idiot turn around and be like, why did you go see a therapist? Why? So you don't have to listen to me? That's some horrendous well, yeah, animals, yeah. That's just crazy. People want to point you the other way because they don't want to deal with you. Then when they need to deal with you, they come poking at you. That's, you know, that's funny. That can be pretty funny. The human behavior has always been funny to me. Funny, sad, strange, maddening, all of the above. You know? Thank you, fools and tools. That's how I break out of my mood. I'm feeling something, and then as I'm listening to myself, I realize how corny it sounds, you know? I can recognize when I get worked up over something or get upset, and then as I'm listening to myself, I'm like, that's just crazy. Now that you know it is, and you said it out loud, and it sounds even crazier, and you're having this reaction that you don't really need to, now you can laugh about it, you know? You know, like when something bad happens and then down the road, you laugh about it. Well, at least now I can address it, deal with it, turn it around, and then laugh about it. But in that moment, it was no laughing matter. Okay, I'm gonna make me some nice breakfast. Lay down, take a nap. Stuff. And I'm gonna lay down, take a nap. Apparently, I got a lot of sleep to catch up on. From years of being woke up in trauma from my own family, so I'm gonna enjoy my sleep all I can. Because I am. Hope everyone has a good day or evening. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you, fools and tools. And Sonate and Fishy. Thank you, Fishy, for telling me it was upside down. Wally. Wally, treats. I have to move my body around outside again, too. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate you. Have a good day. I have karaoke tonight. I must get my rest so I can joke around and say, continue my singing career. So, peace.